Ladies and gentlemen, I come before you today with a truth that pierces like a flame through the shadows of our deepest pain. Life, as we know, is filled with beauty, love, and joy, but it is also marked by wounds, and often those wounds come from the very ones we hold closest to our hearts. Perhaps you've been betrayed by a friend, abandoned by family, or let down by someone who promised to stand by your side. The pain of love turned sour can feel like a dagger that strikes not your body, but your soul. Yet I tell you this, in the midst of that brokenness, there is a touch, a divine touch, that can heal the deepest of wounds. It is the touch of God, the one who knows the ache of rejection, the one who bore the scars of betrayal, and the one who offers his infinite love to restore what was shattered. Pain from loved ones reveals the depth of your capacity to love. When we experience hurt from those we hold closest, the pain cuts deeper than almost any other kind of wound. This is not simply because of the act itself, but because of the love and trust that existed beforehand. The closer someone is to our heart, the more vulnerable we are to them, and this vulnerability is a reflection of the profound connection we have shared. It is the paradox of love that the same people who bring us the most joy also have the power to cause us the most pain. Love is not a surface-level emotion, it is an investment of the heart, mind, and soul. When you love deeply, you open yourself up in ways that expose the most tender parts of who you are. You allow yourself to be seen, known, and accepted, and in doing so, you take a risk. This risk is the very nature of love, an offering of yourself with no guarantees. So when the ones you love hurt you, it feels as if a sacred bond has been violated. The weight of that pain is directly tied to the depth of the love you once shared. The pain is often so overwhelming because love, by its nature, is selfless. To love someone deeply is to place their needs, desires, and well-being above your own. It is to give without expecting anything in return. And yet when that love is betrayed or disregarded, it feels as though all that you poured out has been discarded. This feeling of rejection can shake your very identity, leaving you questioning your worth, your choices, and your ability to trust again. But this pain is also evidence of something profound. Your capacity to love is immense. The depth of the hurt mirrors the depth of the love you are capable of giving. If you did not care deeply, the betrayal would not sting so much. If your heart were not open, the wound would not exist. The very fact that you feel such pain is a testament to the strength and magnitude of the love that lives within you. This capacity for love is not a weakness, it is a strength. It means that you have the ability to connect, to give, and invest in others in ways that are meaningful and transformative. It means that you are capable of forming bonds that have the potential to bring beauty and purpose to your life and the lives of those around you. Even in the face of hurt, this capacity remains within you. It is not diminished by the pain you have endured. Instead, it stands as a reminder of the richness of your heart and the depth of your humanity. When we look at the pain caused by loved ones, it is also an opportunity for reflection. It prompts us to consider what it means to love unconditionally, to give grace, and to set boundaries. Pain can serve as a teacher, revealing the areas of our lives where we may need healing, growth, or protection. It can show us where we have placed our identity in the hands of others instead of grounding it in something unshakable. The pain of love reminds us of our shared humanity. None of us are immune to mistakes, failures, or shortcomings. Just as we have been hurt by others, we too have likely hurt those we love, whether intentionally or unintentionally. This realization calls us to humility and compassion, both for ourselves and for those who have caused us pain. It challenges us to see beyond the immediate hurt and to recognize the complexities of relationships where love and imperfection coexist. In many ways, the pain caused by loved ones is a mirror reflecting the cost of love. Love is never without risk, but it is also never without value. Even in its brokenness, love has the power to shape us, teach us, and draw us closer to the essence of who we are created to be. It is through love, both its joys and its sorrows, that we come to understand the depth of our own hearts and the resilience of our spirit. God's healing begins where human love falls short. In life, we often place great expectations on the love we receive from others, especially those closest to us. We assume that their love will be unwavering, sufficient to fill the voids in our hearts and to meet our deepest emotional needs. However, the reality of human relationships is that even the most well-intentioned people are imperfect. They make mistakes, falter under pressure, and sometimes fail to offer the love and support we crave. When this happens, it leaves an ache, a hollow space within us where we expected comfort, reassurance, and understanding. This ache can manifest as disappointment, anger, or profound sadness. It is in these moments of unmet expectations and relational failure that the limitations of human love become most evident. No matter how much someone may care for you, they cannot fully satisfy the deepest yearnings of your soul because those longings were never meant to be fulfilled by another human being. The truth is, there is a void in every human heart that only God can fill. We often seek to fill this void with relationships, possessions, achievements, or even distractions, hoping they will satisfy the hunger within us. Yet none of these things can bring lasting peace or healing because the void is spiritual in nature. It is a space that was designed for communion with the Creator, a space that only His infinite love can fill. God's love is unlike human love. While human love can be conditional, inconsistent, or dependent on circumstances, God's love is steadfast, unchanging, and eternal. It does not waver based on your actions or your worthiness. It is freely given, a gift of grace. When human love falls short and leaves you broken, God steps in to offer a love that heals, restores, and transforms. His love is not limited by the flaws or failures of others. It is complete and perfect, meeting every need and mending every wound. The healing process begins when you turn to God in your brokenness and surrender the pain to Him. This act of surrender is not about ignoring the hurt or pretending it does not exist. Instead, it is about acknowledging that you cannot heal yourself and recognizing that God is the source of true healing. It is about trusting Him to do what human hands cannot, to reach into the depths of your soul and make you whole again. God's healing often comes in ways that are unexpected. Sometimes He uses the pain as a tool to draw you closer to Him, to teach you to rely on His strength rather than your own. At other times, He reveals His love through the kindness and support of others, sending people into your life who reflect His heart. And then there are moments when His healing touch is quiet and personal, a deep inner work that transforms your perspective and fills you with peace. This healing is not always immediate, nor is it always easy. There may be times when you wrestle with anger, bitterness, or doubt. You may question why God allowed the hurt to happen in the first place, or struggle to see how any good could come from it. Yet even in the midst of these struggles, God is present. He is patient with your questions and compassionate toward your pain. He understands the complexity of your emotions because He has walked this earth and experienced rejection, betrayal, and suffering Himself. As you allow God to heal the wounds left by human love, you begin to experience a deeper sense of His presence and His goodness. You realize that His love is not just a concept, but a reality that sustains you through every trial. You begin to see that the places where human love fell short were opportunities for God to show you the fullness of His love. These moments of brokenness become sacred spaces where His grace is most evident, where His power is made perfect in your weakness. God's healing is not merely about mending what was broken, it is about creating something new. He does not simply patch up the pieces of your heart, He reshapes it, making it stronger, more compassionate, and more attuned to His will. Through this process, you discover that His love is not just a remedy for pain, but a foundation for a life that is richer, fuller, and more anchored in Him. Forgiveness is the bridge to personal freedom and divine restoration. When someone we love hurts us, the immediate response is often a mixture of pain, anger, and confusion. The betrayal or offense feels like a weight pressing down on our hearts, and it can be difficult to imagine letting go of the hurt. Yet, forgiveness is not about excusing what was done or pretending it didn't matter. It is about releasing the hold that the pain has over you so that you can move forward into freedom and healing. At its core, forgiveness is a choice. It is not a feeling that comes naturally or easily, especially when the hurt is deep. Instead, it is an intentional decision to let go of the resentment and bitterness that can take root in your soul. This choice is not dependent on whether the other person deserves forgiveness or even whether they have apologized. It is about freeing yourself from the burden of carrying the offense. Holding on to unforgiveness is like carrying a heavy weight wherever you go. It consumes your thoughts, drains your energy, and keeps you tied to the very pain you want to escape. Bitterness and resentment can create walls around your heart, walls that may protect you from further hurt, but also keep you from experiencing joy, love, and peace. Unforgiveness is a prison, not for the one who hurt you, but for yourself. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is the key that unlocks that prison and sets you free. Forgiveness does not mean that what happened was okay or that the person who hurt you should not be held accountable for their actions. It does not mean that you have to reconcile with them or restore the relationship if doing so would be unhealthy or unsafe. Instead, forgiveness is about releasing the power that the hurt has over you. It is about choosing to let go of the desire for revenge or retribution and trusting God to bring justice in His time and His way. In many ways, forgiveness is an act of surrender. It is recognizing that holding on to anger and bitterness does not bring healing, it only deepens the wound. By forgiving, you are entrusting the situation to God, acknowledging that He is the ultimate judge and that His justice is perfect. You are also making room in your heart for His peace to replace the turmoil that the offense has caused. Forgiveness is not always a one-time event. Depending on the depth of the hurt, it may be a process that requires you to make the choice to forgive again and again. There may be days when the pain resurfaces and you find yourself wrestling with anger or resentment once more. In those moments, it is important to remember that forgiveness is a journey. Each time you choose to forgive, you are taking another step toward freedom and healing. God calls us to forgive not only for the sake of the person who hurt us, but also for our own well-being. He knows that unforgiveness can poison our hearts and keep us from experiencing the fullness of His love and grace. Forgiveness is an act of obedience to God, a way of aligning our hearts with His. When we forgive, we are following the example of Christ, who forgave even those who crucified Him, saying, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Through forgiveness, we open the door for God to bring restoration into our lives. This restoration may not always look the way we expect or involve a repaired relationship with the person who hurt us. Instead, it is a restoration of our own hearts, a healing that allows us to move forward without being weighed down by the past. God takes the broken pieces of our pain and uses them to create something beautiful, something that reflects His glory and His grace. Forgiveness also has the power to transform us. It softens our hearts and makes us more compassionate, more understanding, and more like Christ. It allows us to see others through His eyes, recognizing that they, too, are flawed and in need of grace. As we extend forgiveness, we become conduits of God's love and mercy, showing others the same grace that He has shown us. In choosing to forgive, we also deepen our relationship with God. Forgiveness is an act of faith, a way of saying, "God, I trust You with my pain. I trust You to bring justice, and I trust You to heal my heart." This act of trust draws us closer to Him, allowing His love and peace to fill the spaces once occupied by anger and hurt. Through forgiveness, we experience the freedom and restoration that only He can provide. Your wounds can become the foundation of someone else's healing. When we experience pain, especially the kind inflicted by those we love, it can feel isolating and overwhelming. The weight of the hurt may lead us to believe that no one else could possibly understand what we are going through. But within every wound lies a potential for something greater, a chance for that pain to be transformed into a source of strength, hope, and healing, not just for ourselves, but for others. Pain has a way of connecting people on a deep and authentic level. When someone else shares their struggles, their heartbreaks, or their scars, there is a unique power in that vulnerability. It bridges the gap between individuals and creates a sense of understanding that words alone cannot convey. In the same way, the wounds you carry can become a testimony to others who are walking through their own valleys of pain. Your experiences, as difficult as they may be, hold the potential to bring comfort and encouragement to those who feel alone in their struggles. There is an innate human tendency to look for meaning in suffering. We want to believe that the pain we endure is not purposeless, that there is something to be gained or learned from it. One of the most profound ways to find meaning in our pain is by using it to help others. When you share your story, the raw, unfiltered truth of your struggles, you create a space for others to see that they too can survive and heal. Your wounds, though painful, become a beacon of hope, a reminder that healing is possible even in the darkest of circumstances. It is not about having all the answers or offering solutions to every problem. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply show up and share your story. Letting someone else know that you've been where they are and that you've come out on the other side can be incredibly transformative for them. It tells them that they are not alone, that their pain is not a mark of failure, and that there is a path forward. The process of using your wounds to help others often begins with your own healing. When you allow God to work in your life, to bind up your broken heart and restore your spirit, You gain a deeper understanding of His grace and His power. This healing does not erase the pain, but it transforms it. The scars remain, but they become a testimony to the goodness of God and His ability to bring beauty out of brokenness. Your scars tell a story of survival, resilience, and redemption. They are a visible reminder that while pain may have marked you, it did not destroy you. When you share this story, it becomes a gift to others. It gives them permission to feel their pain, to grieve their losses, and to seek their own healing. It also points them toward the source of true healing, God. There is also a humility that comes from sharing your wounds. It requires you to step out of the comfort of self-protection and into the vulnerability of authenticity. But in doing so, you open the door for genuine connection. People are drawn to authenticity because it is rare in a world that often values appearances over truth. When you share your pain, you give others the courage to share theirs, creating a space where healing can flourish. God often uses our pain to equip us for a greater purpose. The very experiences that wounded us become the tools we use to minister to others. If you've walked through the pain of betrayal, you have a unique ability to empathize with someone who feels the sting of broken trust. If you've experienced rejection, you can offer understanding and encouragement to someone struggling with their self-worth. Whatever your wounds may be, they prepare you to be a source of comfort and strength to others. In Scripture, we see countless examples of God using people's pain for His glory. Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, later became a source of salvation for his family. Paul, who endured immense suffering, used his experiences to strengthen and encourage the early church. Even Jesus Himself, who bore the ultimate wounds on the cross, transformed that pain into the greatest act of love and redemption the world has ever known. Your wounds are not wasted. They are a part of your story, and when you allow God to use them, they become a part of His story. They are the evidence of His faithfulness, His grace, and His power to redeem even the most painful circumstances. When you choose to share your pain and your healing with others, you become a vessel of His love, bringing hope to those who are struggling and pointing them toward the one who can heal their hearts. Trusting God transforms betrayal into breakthrough. Betrayal is one of the most painful experiences a person can endure, especially when it comes from someone you loved, trusted, or relied upon. It creates a deep wound that cuts to the very core of who you are, shaking your sense of stability, self-worth, and security. The hurt caused by betrayal is not just about the act itself, but also about the loss of trust, the shattering of expectations, and the feeling of being deeply let down. In the aftermath of betrayal, it is easy to feel trapped in a cycle of anger, bitterness, and despair. The questions swirl in your mind: why did this happen? How could someone I cared for hurt me so deeply? Will I ever be able to trust again? These thoughts can consume you, keeping you stuck in the pain of the past and robbing you of the ability to move forward. But there is a way to break free from this cycle, and it begins with trusting God. Trusting God after betrayal is not an easy step to take. It often feels counterintuitive to place your trust in someone, even God, when your trust has been broken by another. The pain may make you question whether God truly sees your hurt or cares about your suffering. Yet it is precisely in these moments of doubt and despair that trusting Him becomes the most powerful choice you can make. When you trust God, you acknowledge that He is bigger than your pain, your questions, and your confusion. You surrender the weight of the betrayal to Him, recognizing that you do not have to carry it alone. Trusting God does not mean ignoring your feelings or pretending the hurt does not exist. Instead, it means bringing your pain to Him and allowing Him to work in and through it. It is an act of faith, a declaration that He is still good, even when circumstances are not. Betrayal has a way of stripping away illusions and forcing us to confront the reality of our dependence on God. When the trust we placed in others is broken, we are reminded that human relationships, while beautiful, are not infallible. People will fail us, but God never will. He is the only one who is completely faithful, completely trustworthy, and completely capable of meeting our deepest needs. Trusting Him allows us to shift our focus from the betrayal we experience to the promises He has made. One of the most profound promises of God is that He can bring good out of even the most painful situations. Romans 8:28 assures us that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. This does not mean that the betrayal itself was good or that God caused it to happen. Rather, it means that He can take the broken pieces of our lives and weave them into something beautiful. Trusting Him opens the door for Him to bring about a breakthrough, a transformation that turns the pain of betrayal into an opportunity for growth, healing, and purpose. Breakthrough often begins with a change in perspective. When you trust God, you begin to see your pain through the lens of His sovereignty and love. You recognize that while betrayal may have been intended to harm you, God can use it to strengthen you, refine your character, and draw you closer to Him. The betrayal becomes not just a wound, but a catalyst for deeper faith and greater resilience. Trusting God also enables you to let go of the need for revenge or control. When someone betrays you, the natural response is to want to make them feel the same pain they caused you or to try to manipulate the situation to your advantage. But these responses only keep you trapped in the hurt, preventing you from moving forward. Trusting God means surrendering the desire for vengeance and allowing Him to handle the justice. It means believing that He is in control, even when everything feels chaotic. As you trust God, you begin to experience peace that surpasses all understanding and guards your heart and mind. This peace does not come from the absence of pain, but from the presence of God in the midst of it. It is a peace that allows you to rest, knowing that He is working on your behalf even when you cannot see the full picture. Through this trust, betrayal is transformed into breakthrough. The wounds become a testimony of God's faithfulness, the scars a reminder of His healing power. The experience shapes you, deepens your faith, and equips you to help others who are walking through similar pain. Trusting God does not erase the betrayal, but it changes its impact. What was meant to break you becomes the very thing that propels you into a deeper relationship with Him and a greater understanding of His purpose for your life. God's timing is the key to healing and restoration. When we experience pain, especially from those we love, our natural inclination is to seek immediate relief. We want the hurt to stop, the wounds to close, and the broken pieces of our lives to be mended as quickly as possible. Waiting feels unbearable when your heart is heavy with sorrow, and it's tempting to try to rush the process of healing. Yet true restoration comes not in our timing, but in God's. His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our expectations. The journey of healing often requires patience, which can feel like one of the hardest lessons to learn in the midst of pain. It's difficult to understand why God doesn't step in and fix everything right away, why He allows the process to unfold slowly instead of providing instant relief. But God's ways are higher than our ways, and His understanding surpasses our own. He sees the bigger picture, the intricate tapestry of our lives, and He knows what is best for us in the long run. One reason God's timing is crucial to healing is that it allows for deeper transformation. If healing were instantaneous, we might miss the lessons that come through the process. Pain has a way of revealing things within us that we may not have otherwise noticed: fears, insecurities, or areas where we have placed our trust in something other than God. The time it takes to heal is often the time it takes for God to work on these deeper issues, to refine our character, and to draw us closer to Him. Healing is not just about fixing what is broken, it's about creating something new. When we rush the process, we risk settling for superficial restoration instead of allowing God to do a complete and thorough work in our lives. His timing ensures that every part of our heart is tended to, every wound is addressed, and every piece of our brokenness is transformed into